Now, after Bristol Rovers' relegation to League Two, they're obviously staring down the pan, and they're looking ahead into this new season and a future, immediate future. That things can't really get much worse than last season. They were pretty abysmal throughout the League One campaign. Now, obviously, Darrell Clarke comes back into the fold, and that's massive news for Rovers fans. They have a great connection with the manager. They obviously don't want to go too far off nostalgia, and hopefully Darrell Clarke can continue. Now, what's happened in the time since he was involved is he's achieved more promotion, the likes of Port Vale as well, which is an incredible story there. Darrell Clarke has come into a lot of clubs. He's got a lot of things right, and he's left a very proud man, a very connected man to the fan base, and I think it's a lovely return for Bristol Rovers fans. But football is determined on results, so it is so important that Darrell Clarke hits the ground running. I mean, the squad cohesion, he's got to get it right in terms of rotation, in terms of how he's going to change training. There needs to be sort of kicks up the backside for this Bristol Rovers group. If you are relegated, things need to change. Long-term growth as well needs to become a clear sort of motivational tactic as well to get that positive going forward. So Dan, our Bristol correspondent, let's just go to Dan. Dan, what's your thoughts on Bristol Rovers' ambitions under Darrell Clarke? Where do they need to look forward to? Is it as simple as promotion straight back to League One, or a case of just improving, ensuring they're sustainable again, and then hopefully they can look towards a promotion push in the future?
I think relegation came as quite a big shock to Bristol Rovers last season. Certainly they weren't wanting it at all. I mean, obviously no club wants relegation, Charles, but I think at one stage of the season they thought, okay, yes, they'd sacked Matt Taylor, but they brought Calderon and Igor Calderon in. And results had seen a bit of an upturn, and they'd done all right in some games, and they were looking relatively safe. And so the downturn of form that came just showed came as a real surprise to them, I think, to be honest. And so naturally, the ambition of the club came in for a bit of questioning, and under the new ownership as well. So the fact that Darrell Clarke's come out and been so assured of his aims and his hunger and desire to make sure Bristol Rovers are competing at the top end of League Two in the season to come, and really tackling promotion as an objective, is certainly encouraging in terms of the club's ambitions. The ownership need to just show this themselves by backing Clarke in the transfer window and making sure he's got the adequate tools to get that job done. Otherwise, then once again, their ambition will be put into the firing line, because Bristol Rovers, as Clarke has constantly pointed out, are a big enough club and shouldn't really be in League Two with some of the backing they've had in recent times and some of the ambition that they've had. So they need to get out of that division as quickly as possible. And of course, that comes from good management, good staff, good players, and of course a good board as well, all working together in tandem to create the best environment possible at the Memorial Stadium. Lots of work to be done over this summer. Clarke has made clear that a bit of a reset is probably needed, but if that's the case, then the club need to help him with that and make sure that the right players are bought in and work with them well to make sure that Bristol Rovers aren't just languishing. Because if you get caught down in that division, you're going to be there for some time, and that's the worry. And that's when the ambition of the club would really, really come under threat. Because you think, well, if they're languishing and things aren't looking good, then if Clarke gets sacked, and then you think, well, what direction is this club going in? So lots to think about this summer for Bristol Rovers, but certainly the owners, by bringing in someone like Darrell Clarke, have set their ambitions straight by bringing in someone who they know can win at this club. And with the interview he did with Ricky Martin as well, he made clear that they're in this together to create the best possible outcome. So they've talked the talk over the summer so far. They now need to put some of that into action as well by bringing in good players and also then enacting that on the pitch when the season does start in August. Bit of time to go until that though, so they need to make sure that the pre-season they have is as good as possible, and they hit the ground running as a club. And Darrell Clarke, with now John Stead as his assistant manager, they can work well together in tandem too. So lots to think about for Bristol Rovers.